You don't notice it at first. It doesn't arrive loudly. It doesn't announce itself. It feels more like a quiet heaviness sitting somewhere behind your chest. You go through your day, you answer messages, you show up, you smile when you're expected to, and from the outside, everything looks fine. But inside, something feels distant. Have you ever noticed that? That strange gap between how you appear and how you actually feel. Most people assume strength looks obvious. They think it's confidence, stability, control. But real emotional strength usually looks much quieter than that. It looks like holding yourself together when no one is watching. It looks like carrying feelings you don't have words for. It looks like being the calm one in the room while your mind is crowded. And what most people don't realize is that the people who seem strongest often feel things the deepest. You see it in small moments, the way you pause before replying honestly, the way you absorb other people's stress without mentioning your own, the way you say, "It's okay," even when it isn't. Not because you're pretending, but because somewhere along the way you learned that being strong meant being quiet about your pain. And this is where it gets deeper. That pattern doesn't come from nowhere. It forms slowly, through experiences where your emotions weren't fully met, through moments where vulnerability felt unsafe, through subtle lessons that taught you your needs mattered less than your reliability. So your nervous system adapted. You became self-contained. You learned to regulate internally instead of reaching outward. Not consciously, automatically. Psychology calls this emotional conditioning. But in real life, it just feels like becoming the person who doesn't complain, the person who listens more than they speak, the person who handles things. You start identifying with that role. It becomes part of your identity. You're the dependable one, the grounded one, the strong one. And over time, that identity begins to shape how you see yourself. You don't ask for much. You don't express everything. You tell yourself you're fine. Not because you don't feel, but because feeling outward doesn't feel natural anymore. But here's what's interesting. Your nervous system doesn't forget. Every emotion you hold in still lives in your body. Every unspoken disappointment, every moment of self-silencing, every time you chose composure over honesty, they don't disappear. They accumulate quietly. Sometimes they show up as exhaustion you can't explain, sometimes as emotional numbness, sometimes as that familiar sense of being disconnected from yourself. You're present, but not fully here. This is where internal and external validations start to matter. When you grow up learning to rely on yourself emotionally, you stop seeking comfort outward. You become your own witness, your own container. But there's a cost to that. You begin measuring your worth by how well you endure instead of how deeply you live. You take psychological ownership of everything, your feelings, your struggles, other people's moods, and slowly, responsibility replaces connection. And this is where inner conflict appears. Part of you wants to rest. Another part tells you to keep going. Part of you wants to be seen. Another part says it's safer not to be. So you exist in this quiet tension, functional, composed, emotionally tired. What most people don't realize is that strength isn't the absence of sensitivity. It's usually built on it. The strong ones often have deep emotional awareness. They notice subtle shifts in energy. They read rooms instinctively. They understand pain without needing explanations. But they also carry shadow aspects. Not darkness, just the parts of themselves they learned to hide. Needs, softness, longing. They don't reject these parts, they just learned not to lead with them. And this is where emotional burnout quietly begins. Not from doing too much, from holding too much, from being emotionally available while staying personally contained, from showing up for others while slowly disconnecting from yourself. You don't collapse, you drift. You become efficient with your feelings. You intellectualize them. You manage them. But you don't always feel them fully anymore. Some people move through life this way unconsciously. Others become aware of it. Neither is wrong. Some act from protection, some from awareness. Everyone is responding to their own history, their own nervous system, their own emotional blueprint. There's no judgment here, just understanding. And this is where it gets deeper. True emotional strength isn't about endurance, it's about self-awareness. It's about noticing when you're holding more than you should. It's about recognizing when your calm is actually suppression. It's about allowing your authentic self to exist alongside your capable one, not replacing strength, softening it, letting it breathe. You don't have to become louder. You don't have to become different. You just have to become more honest with yourself about what you carry, about what you avoid, about what you quietly need. Because the strong ones don't hurt loudly, they hurt quietly, in thoughtful pauses, in late-night reflection, in moments of sudden emotional weight that seem to come from nowhere. And maybe, as you sit with this, you can notice your own quiet strength, not as something to prove, just as something to understand. Not everything needs to be resolved. Some things just need to be seen. And sometimes, being seen by yourself is enough.